A FAM production. Furniture and mattress. FAM.news.
10,000 people a day turn 65 years old in the United States. It's happening now. The silver tsunami is a wave you can't afford to ignore. How can you serve this swelling customer base? Their needs are unique, and you need to be prepared. It's a huge opportunity, and Mary Van Orman with the Wellness Division of Ergo Motion is here to help us make sense of one of the biggest bedroom trends that you're likely not addressing. The Dos Marcos Show begins right now. Listen to this information we got from Genesis Credit. According to Experian, 40% of Americans have a FICO score below 700. That means 4 of every 10 sales are potentially lost because a customer won't qualify for enough credit or at all through traditional financing. Fact is, customers deserve a second chance at affordable financing, and no one believes that more than Genesis Credit. As the industry's premier second-look financing solution for over 20 years, Genesis provides high revolving credit lines for customers with FICO credit scores above 550. And Genesis wants retailers to know that, hey, if you're seeing lower credit lines and fewer credit approvals from your first finance option, let Genesis Credit take a second look. Find the right fit for your customers' financial needs at genesis-fs.com/thefam. Be honest, how much do you spend each year on product photography?
Aperture's the answer, Kinsley.
Products and more products and vignettes and tens of thousands of dollars in reshoots. I mean, the reshoots. And then it doesn't look consistent.
Aperture is the answer.
Look, the world's changed a lot. And one of the good changes is the tech driving Aperture.
Aperture is the answer.
All right, Quinn, you don't have to say Aperture is the answer anymore. So why don't you go ahead and tell them why?
Because it's the only tech company that Williams-Sonoma ever bought. And for good reason, Kinsley. They had the same problems with product photography, and now they don't. And now you won't.
Let's say you need a mattress photo. Boom. Place that beautiful bed inside Aperture's nifty 20 by 20 beauty box, press a button, and the Aperture machine does all of the rest. All the lighting and cropping and shadows, all of it. And better yet, once you need a different background or different lighting, no reshoots. Your visual factory in a box does all the work.
And you know what? You save some money, you save some time, and you create product photography that can move at the speed of your ideas. Start today at outwardinc.com and tell them Dos Marcos sent you.
Because why? Aperture's the answer.
Welcome to the Dos Marcos Show with Mark Kinsley and Mark Quinn, where mattress and furniture leaders gather to grow, get the inside scoop, tell stories, and take tequila shots.
Uno, dos, tequila!
Welcome aboard. Here's your passport to a planet filled with the mattress industry's brightest minds and biggest ideas. The galaxy's greatest mattress podcast has liftoff in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Dos Marcos Show. I'm Mark Kinsley. This is Mark Quinn. Quinn, you've been traveling, and it looks like, if you're watching, you picked up a polka dot shirt in your travels along the way.
Yeah, polka dot. It's, I don't know if it's in fashion or not, but I kind of feel like I'm a fashion trendsetter. So,
I remember you had that pirate shirt for a while.
Which I'm definitely not. I was traveling. I was in Orlando. You want to hear a funny story? I was in Orlando, and we were at dinner. And by the way, it was insane because the place we were eating at, Boca or something like that, incredible restaurant, beautiful space. And they had robots delivering food to the table. I'm like, okay, I'm in. I love that. Great experience. So I thought that was really cool. But then I set my briefcase down because I didn't want to leave it in the car. I had all my stuff in it. And so one thing led to another, maybe or maybe not. We had some cocktails throughout the evening. Bottom line is I went to grab my briefcase and it wasn't there. So I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So I've got computer, I've got iPad, all kinds of stuff in there, right? And I just worked on this presentation and it was all, oh my gosh. So then I'm like, okay, I'm not like worried about it. We like walked around and I'm just internally, I'm like, look, you can normally this is freak out mode because all my stuff is in there. I'm like at the end of the day, there's not a thing I can do about it. And the guys that I was with, I was like, why aren't you freaking out right now? And we literally left the restaurant without it because I'm like, nothing I can do. So being upset about it. So the reason I'm telling you this story is Dan Swervinsky with Right Global Graphics gave me a book to read, and it's called The Untethered Soul. And I recommend it to anyone listening to the show because in the book, it just talks about how to handle different things that happen in your life and, you know, like there's a tree, you're driving down the road and trees are passing you by on a billboard, and like you just let them go, right? You don't hold on to them in your conscious mind, you just let them go. And the coaching is like with events in your life that you can't control, just let those things go and don't grab hold of them and don't let. And so I'm like literally thinking about this book as this event's going on, and they're like, how are you so calm? Get back to the hotel, get a phone call from the manager. They found my bag, went back and got it. All is well. So my point is The Untethered Soul helped me through a moment because I was reading the book at the time. So go pick it up. I listened to it and it's fantastic. And it's about health and wellness. And I love it, Mary, because it is all about what you do, which is health and wellness. And you're doing it for Ergo Motion as the head of product development. And we are so fired up to have you on the show. Welcome.
Well, thank you. I am quite excited to be here.
Have you ever lost your briefcase, Mary?
No. I've lost a purse and found it. So just as vital for us, for women. So yes.
I saw a video the other day, Mary, that I thought was brilliant. A thief was coming at a woman to steal her purse, and she threw it on top of a building. Because she's like, the thief's not going to be motivated enough to go on top of the building. I can come back and get my purse later. So she just threw it on top of the building.
Good for her.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
The best.
Isn't that smart? Well, no, I have to connect some dots here real quickly. And number one, I have lost my briefcase, and we'll put a video up that I shot after I lost my briefcase. But Quinn, let's close the loop on what happened with your briefcase. The robots stole it, didn't they?
Well, see, that was my suspicion because you can't really trust those robots, first of all. And then, I'm like, okay, so what happened? And of course I'm like, would someone really because we were in a really nice restaurant, like, would someone really walk out with it? Right. But anyway, I was just cracked because the guys I was with are like, I'm a Mormon. I've never lost a briefcase. That's like but anyway, so I was just so glad though that they acknowledged, they're like, oh my God, you're so calm about this. And I'm like, there's no doubt that moment. Have you ever guys had that? Like where you're in the chaos of a moment and you're like, okay, like I'm getting sucked into like panic. Right. And then I don't know, because of that book, I think it helped me just go, nope, stop, take a breath. Like, nothing like freaking out, getting mad, getting angry, getting like none of that was going to do a single thing to help me through that moment. And isn't it so true for so much of life? If you miss a deadline, if someone doesn't, right. It's like literally like, trying to manage those little moments so that you can, because, you got to stay in control and emotionally stable with it all. But anyway, the book is fantastic. I hope everyone reads it, but
we'll put the link in the show notes. How about that?
How about that?
We'll also
thank you,
link
Dan,
up in the show notes. Yeah, thank you, Dan. Right, Global Graphics. And I'll put the link to the video where Mike Magnuson and I were in San Francisco, and we walked across the street. Somebody busted out the window of his car, stole both of our briefcases, and ran away. And we ended up getting the briefcases back. The only thing that was gone were both of our computers. So it ended up working out okay. But anyway, right after that, in the chaos of that moment, I ended up shooting a video because I'm like, this needs to be documented in some way. Anyway, it's pretty funny.
I love that you got it back, and I'm sorry for the guy because you beat the guy to a bloody pulp. Did he ever make it out of the ICU?
What did happen was there was a guy that was nearby, and we found him later on, a couple of blocks over. I jump out of the car and run up to him. And I'm like, hey, I saw you whenever our bags got stolen. He's like, hey, man, I didn't do anything. Are you a cop? Are you a cop? And I'm like, no, I'm not a cop. Why do you think I'm a cop? Because I had a blazer on. So I looked like a detective or something, I guess.
5-0. I may have knocked the robot over after I left the dinner because I did suspect him. But anyway, enough of all that. Mary, you're in the health and wellness game, aren't you? And you're at Ergo Motion, and we're so glad to have you here. Kinsley, you read a note: 10,000 people a day
turn 65 in the United States of America.
We do.
Mary, let's start there. Drop some data on us that frame up what is happening in the world and why Ergo Motion launched a wellness division. And under that wellness division, you have the Dawn House Living brand. And the Dawn House bed product, which is focused on this aging population that, by all accounts, wants to stay at home. Give us some of that meat to chew on in terms of data and why you got into the space.
Yeah, absolutely. So the interesting thing is that we Ergomotion and this whole division started as a passion project and not because of the numbers. So the owner of our parent company in manufacturing actually had a personal story where he lost someone. They passed away in their sleep, and it really affected him. And he felt like where we were with the adjustable base and then the technology with sensors and being able to monitor information and our health and everything, that we should be able to put something together that really could make a difference. So put a product together that allowed people to age well, allowed people to monitor their health and everything else. So it was around aging, because that's a change in condition, but it was really about how to make life better. That was the baseline. So from there, it was Ergomotion put together a team. So I got recruited I had been in senior living. 3 of us came from senior living. Others came from the product side. And we really did our research to understand what we could put into a product that would make a difference and pull all that together. And so there are, so 10,000 people turn 65 every day. And this is not just here. Those are the same demographics in Australia. Those are the same demographics in EU. So it's really an interesting time across the board. So, we're looking at all of that. You also have the fact that as people age, they will have 1 to 10 different health issues. Could be very small, might be that they have a bad knee or something along those lines. But as we age, there are these components that change with your body. And so how do you, adjust for that? And so the goal is to put this all together and really build, like I said, to build this product. The other interesting piece is, people that have aged are not focused on in marketing. Everything is geared towards that younger consumer, the hipper, cooler, whatever it is. Well, guess what? 70% of the disposable income is with the 65 and up population. So, there's these are the demographics we gathered after we started the project. And so the other big piece is that, 70% or higher of people as they age want to stay in their home. And so, when you look at those kinds of numbers, when we first started with the project, they were really looking to build a product that would go into, let's say, assisted living or something along those lines. That's not the market. The market is in people's homes. The market is, how do you build something that's going to help make a difference for them in their home and help them stay there longer and stay healthier. So those were just some of we had all of that backup information from demographics just to help explain to retailers and others what we were building and why.
And I've read that a variety of different stats. I saw one from AARP that said nearly 90% of people, adults over 65, want to remain in their homes as they grow older. So I know that AARP and some of the data taps into people at different stages in their lives. Sometimes they're talking to people 50 plus, but for people 65 or older right now, 90% of them want to stay in their home. From a trend standpoint, CVS just announced their plans to acquire Signify Health for $8 billion. Well, Signify has a network of 10,000 doctors that offer in-home care to about 2.5 million patients. So here we are at this crossroads of people wanting to age well, age at home. A giant swath of the population is, inching 65 plus, and people, over 75, most of them have some sort of chronic health condition. So let's pause for a minute, Mary, and let's dissect 2 things. On one hand, people might say, well, this is a healthcare issue, or it's the healthcare companies that need to serve people in their homes. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, we're saying, what is it? 30% of falls happen in the bedroom and people want to stay at home. So is this an issue for the mattress industry the furniture and mattress industry to address, or is it an issue for the healthcare conglomerates to address?
I would say it's a combination, but even the healthcare would prefer that people stay at home. It's more, look at, there's key things that make a difference as you age and help you age in a more healthy environment, and which again costs insurance less and everything else. And that is, your ability to exercise and stay healthy, your ability, the population that's aging now, the baby boomers, they're so much more informed. They have a completely different mindset than our parents did. And they want to go out and they want to be proactive about it. They want to own their own destiny. They don't want to have to be put in an assisted living or something like that as they age. So the mattress industry, the furniture industry, home building industry, all of that is, if they aren't in tune with that, then it's a big miss. So people who are in their 50s, maybe they're going to downsize because their kids are gone. Guess what? They're going to buy a ranch, just because down the road they know they might not want to have a lot of steps in the house. They might do remodeling in their home. They might widen the doorways a little, just in case down the road they need to have more mobility issues. They will redo their bathrooms and will do a walk-in shower versus a lip shower, and put support in the walls so they can put assist rails in there if they need it down the road. So there's this whole focus on being proactive, and then there's this whole focus of adult children looking out for their parents who have already aged. And so we're seeing early success with adult children buying our product because they want to have a comfort level that their parent or parents are being able to support themselves as best possible. And this is our sleep system is one component of that. And so it's something that absolutely we need to, because the falling, getting in and out of bed is a significant issue. And when you get into assisted living, it was more like 70% of the falls happened in the bedroom, so it's a way of really looking forward and protecting yourself as long as possible.
And I've heard that if somebody has an injury fall and they're over 75 years old, it cuts their lifespan in half.
It does.
And then if you have a second injury fall, it cuts their lifespan in half again. So if you were 75 years old and you were going to live a healthy 95, you have a couple of injury falls, now you got 5 more years. This could literally, when you talk about saving lives, is adding 15 years to somebody's life saving their life? I would argue it is.
It is. And let me add another component to it. If you don't even have the emotion around the falling and your overall health, there's the cost. It's you can purchase a sleep system and do some things in your home and invest that make it safer. That is a lot less expensive than having to pay to go and live in assisted living or something along those lines, because those costs are high. That they have to be because of the labor involved and everything else.
So Mary, I'm sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, technology, right? So we've kind of been talking about that, but every year at the Consumer Electronics Show, telehealth is one of the biggest categories, and people flock to that. And there's so much technology that's making it possible for aging in place to happen, right? So talk to us about the technology that you guys have introduced into product and how that kind of ties in, and how it's really enabling people to consider a different future as they do want to stay home.
Yes, and I would love to, because I'm really excited about what we've done with the technology. I can talk about the physical design of the product and everything else. The technology piece is something that I think, when you talk about the mattress industry and wanting to accept some of that newness, this is a key component. So we have the sensors in the base. So, it is all someone has to do is lay down on their bed And the sensors are tracking, how well you slept, of course, all the basics of a sleep report, but it's heart rate variability, movement, how many times you got in and out of bed. There's some these are key markers for health. And so you can get up in the morning and you will have this report each morning that will show you, what your sleep performance was, inclusive of things, like I said, movement alone. I just read an article yesterday that could be one of the key indicators of a change in a health condition, is if the movement during the night accelerates, for example, or if you're getting out of bed more often, that's a health indicator. If your heart rate changes, your heart rate variability changes, those are all health indicators. So the app allows you to look at your daily report, your weekly report, your monthly report. Another key component is you can share that daily report with your loved one or a caregiver. So that, which is a really important piece of this, so that they're also being able to look at that information and it's not an alarm system. What it is looking for a changing condition. And so, if, let's say, someone starts getting up a lot more during the night, okay, do we need to check for a UTI? Because that's such a common occurrence as people age. Is the movement going way up? Are they on new medication that's maybe interacting with current medication that's not working so well for them? Are they in pain and they're just not sharing?
What if they don't get back in bed, Mary? Like, what if they literally get up in the middle of the night and they never re-enter bed? That would be like a moment, right? It's
that's a moment,
or maybe they're in distress or something
right.
like that. I mean, there could be a lot with that.
And you can also get real-time data live sharing. So, if you want to say, wait, Mom usually calls me by, 8 in the morning. She hasn't called. I'm just going to check. She's still sleeping. Okay, that's fine. She was up late the night before or something along those lines. And, you have to be careful. You don't want it to sound like Big Brother. That's not the point. The point is that it's a shared response and a shared goal of taking care of each other. And so that's a big component of it. The other great thing about the technology is, we got so much pushback in the beginning because people were like, my mom isn't going to use the app. My mom isn't on, on email or whatever. Well, I beg to differ because, and COVID exacerbated this and took it to a whole new level. But guess what? They're doing Zoom calls with their family. They're doing remote calls with their doctors. We had the gift of, when we were doing our research and developing our product, of some time, and we did focus groups, and we went into and it was an independent living community, and met all these delightful people that were 80s and up. And we were going to give them beds to test, the whole thing, and getting to know them and meet them. It was, well, do you want me to call you? Oh no, just email me. You can email me or text me. Here's my information. It was that type of thing. They were totally linked in. And we had one woman, 98 years old. And if she wasn't getting her report, we got our phone call because, she wanted to make sure she got her report every morning. She took it into her cardiologist and shared it with him. It was, look, it's a different day and it's a different time. And our audience really does want to know. They want to be proactive. They want to pay attention. And some of them just like to see the information and know how they slept.
I love that too, because it allows the user, the person who gets to experience, the Dawn House bed and the technology, to hold people in their life accountable based on real data. Because it's not often that somebody's able to walk around, unless you have some sort of wearable, and figure out what is actually happening in my life. And I would argue that whenever you're sleeping, it is the best opportunity to gather some of that raw data that exists in your day, because you're stationary. Your body is doing what it's going to do. You can get predictive with it. You can find out signals that say I might not be healthy. And then when you go into the doctor, I think there's there's some trust breakdown between average people in the healthcare community. So now you can walk in and say, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Help me make sense of this. Even though we know that the average MD only gets 2 hours of sleep training whenever they complete their degree.
Right. Well, and that is absolutely true. And several of the studies have said the fact that the sleep piece is so consistent, same bed, same, that type of thing, that it is one of the best ways to track the information. And, we're also tying into, let's say they wear a smartwatch because they're counting their steps. I mean, they're paying attention. I say they, it's, all of us. And the sleep piece of this is going to be able to tie into their Apple Health, for example, or Google Health. So that allows them to have a 360 on their information and, their health piece. So, we had a customer, one of our first customers in the early 60s, and he had a stroke. And, for him to come home, they wanted them to have a hospital bed. And she's like, I'm not having a hospital bed in our bedroom. That was just so our product, which is new. There's not anything else out there like it right now. And so they found it, they bought it, and it was so helpful for her husband with mobility, being able to raise and, take the bed up and down. So it helped him as he was recovering. But, she learned from her health data that, if I exercise in the afternoon, I don't snore nearly as much as I did before. So it's not just about monitoring your heart and everything else. It's also just learning what works for you. We have the ability with the app to set a reminder to go to bed. And, that's not a bad thing, in that sometimes you start watching TV or people are doing whatever they're doing now on their phones. And it's just like this, you set this time and it's like it sets down, goes to sleep, ties into IFT. So, if you're already in bed and it's like, oh gosh, I don't know if I turn the lights out, guess what? You can just go on your app and your phone and double check. And if you've got smart lights, you can turn them off. If you've got smart locks, you can lock them, lock the doors or double check. And it eliminates another getting out of bed, risk type of thing too. So
Mary, I love where this is going. I mean, just the thoughtfulness of, even like you said, ingress and egress, getting in and getting out, that's where the falls happen. And then lowering and raising a bed. I mean, if you're somebody who has mobility issues, you can just literally raise the bed up. You can put the back of your legs and your rear end against it, lower it down, and it can put you in bed and get you out of bed. All of that stuff adds up to moments that could create catastrophe. And if you're on the sidelines and it's mom or dad, that's peace of mind. If you're somebody who's dealing with mobility issues or recovering, like my friend Craig is right now, he had a major accident and he's not even a senior. We got him fixed up with, a really great base and he's dealing with a 3-month, no weight, no load bearing recovery. These are common things. Now I want to transition into this idea of, okay, great, solves a lot of problems. You've got a big demographic of people that are going to be in this cohort. Now, what are retailers saying? Are there objections to carrying these products? Do they understand this information that you're sharing with them? Are you flooring the Dawn House bed? Give us some insights into the retail community.
So we've just really launched into retail. And so a couple of key partners for us have been Miss Kelly's adapted it. And they, here's the deal. I've been at market a couple of times now making those presentations that, you've seen. And to make a presentation to an audience where every head is going like this and relating to what we're saying about the design of the bed, about the app and everything else, we've had buyers circle back around after the presentation later in the day and say, okay, I need to order it for my mom. I mean, that's the resonance that we're getting with the retailer audience. Now, are we working to make sure we get the right floor space and everything else? Absolutely. But City Mattress has put it into all their stores. We just did the training in Florida. They've sold like 6 beds. Now, it's not, this isn't a $600 program. It's a more expensive program because of everything that we put into it. But their sales team has been wonderful. And again, everyone's got a parent, a grandparent, someone that they can absolutely relate to and understand what this product offers. And so it's we're learning. We're learning, for example, to put the support rail on the bed that's on the floor, because that's a conversation opener. People do not know that we have this solution out there yet. We haven't gone full out marketing and everything else. And so it's really about educating the sales team on the floor so that they're comfortable having the conversation with the consumer as they walk in, and being able to see that this is really different, see that there's the high-low, see that there's a support rail. Those are the kinds of things that just open up that conversation. And so some people are buying it for themselves, some people are buying it for their parents, but the response once the sales team was educated has been phenomenal.
And Mary, I would say that problems own sleep. And we have to remember that in the mattress industry. We did an analysis of Google keyword search terms years ago, and it still holds true today. Who owns sleep? Gwen, you remember this. Who owns sleep? You asked me this question. We did an exhaustive review, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's not the hotels. It's not the mattress companies. It's problems. Problems own sleep. Who owns the problems? Sadly, in many cases, it's the pill companies. And what you're speaking to is solving problems that people have around sleep. And whether it's, adding that rail to the side of an adjustable base, the Dawn House bed, to signal on the sales floor, this is something special. It solves a problem people have getting in and getting out of bed. It creates a safety environment. So I love that you're looking at the actual problems that different age groups are facing, and you're looking at the problems we can solve. You're looking at the problem from the perspective of the loved one who's not there every night to watch over the person that they want to keep safe. And I love what Dawn House Living, by the way, dawnhouseliving.com is where you can go check out the bed. And then, of course, Mary, you can get in touch with Mary Van Orman and with the wellness division of Ergo Motion. Gwen, you're on the edge of your seat.
I'm dying to add to what you said. No, because it's really important. A couple of things, right? So number one, Kinsley, to build on what you said, it's not just the one audience, right, Mary? It's the person that's getting older. But when I was with Leggett & Platt, we did some ethnographic research. So we went into assisted living homes, loved that. And then we went into people's homes, actual homes. And a lot of them are not aware. When you say to them, hey, have you thought about expanding the hallways or taking the lip out of your shower? Well, that's for old people. And we're talking to them and we're like, you're 80. They don't see themselves as that audience, right? So that's one part of it, and that's real.
Hey, I live in that denial, so it's all good.
So that's a part of it. So it's not just those people, but it's the people that love them and that are trying to care for them.
Yes.
So you really have two audiences you're marketing towards. And then the question I wanted to ask you, in our ethnographic, what's so interesting to me when we did that was people that are older spend time in two places. They spend time in their bed, or they spend time in a chair, right? In a living room. They've got a cockpit is what I would call. They got the remote. They've got, the crossword puzzles. They've got their reading glasses, and they're set up. And then they blaze trails into the kitchen, or they blaze trails into their bedroom, but they don't go downstairs anymore. They don't go upstairs anymore. Right. And so that just it's all about for them. Talk about to us about the dignity, right? Because when you talk to older people, that's such a big, they want to age and they want to be they want to do so and still have their dignity. Because a lot of stuff happens, right? Incontinence, having to have people they want to be at home. And so talk to us a little bit about that and the power of what you're doing to really allow people to live that kind of life instead of being in a hospital or, acute care scenario.
Right. And thank you, Mark, for bringing that up, because that's been one of our core guiding points as a team is that, we really want to, with dignity, build a product that makes a difference. This isn't from the beginning, it's not a marketing message. It's a product that we do the research on, and it does make a difference. And so for us, one of the key things was that it was a really pretty bed. It needed to, you want to have this in your bedroom. And we built a product that, your existing nightstands will look great with it, but it's a pretty product that, you can, the design is, to the earlier conversation about walking in, it's an inset base. You can walk right up to the bed. Everything is soft sides so that we tend to get bruises more easily and all that stuff as we age. So there is all of that. And our whole message, when we did our research and just to explain how we even got our name Dawn House, I came from senior living most recently until this, so I understood it. But when we asked all these people that were in their 70s, 80s, and 90s about their day, about sleep, here was the overall response. We know we're older. It's okay. We want a good night's sleep. And here's why they want a good night's sleep. They want a good night's sleep so they can get up in the morning. And one was like, I'm really competitive at bridge and I play better when I get a good night's sleep. And someone else was like, I want to be able to go on the bird watching hike. I want to feel like I got a good enough night's sleep so I can go do that. I want to spend time with my grandchildren. It is about having a great next day. It's not about, my aches and pains. It's about getting a good night's sleep so that you have this quality of life, the best quality of life you can each day. And that was so impressive to us. And that's actually where we got Dawn House. It was sort of less about sleeping and more about the message of aging well, aging with dignity. If you're in your 70s or 80s, you've lived a life. You've seen some things. You bring a tremendous amount to the table. And that experience should be so more valued than I think we often do as a population. And so to build a product that this is about a positive focus on aging, it's about a positive focus on living your life. And so that is really important to us.
I love that message. And actually, if you go over to fam.news, wrote an article. I think I shared it with you, Mary. It's called "The Secret Code for Health in America Should Matter to Mattress Retailers." And that secret code, I'm going to ruin it for you, but you should read the article. It's got a great story about my grandpa Ray, who was a wild driver. I'll put it that way. But the secret code for health in America is movement. You're speaking to us. We literally have a product that we sell in these environments that moves people's bodies, but like you're talking about, it allows them to wake up the next day and move, complete their mission, be a part of their community, go to the baseball games, and just do what they feel like they want to do and not be limited. So we need to focus on this idea of movement. I threw out a couple of ideas about making a move toward healthier sleep. Starting a movement starts with better sleep. So focusing on this idea of being able to move, but also dovetailing that and connecting it to the product, which is the adjustable base that moves people up and down and side to side and ingress and egress and all these different things.
There you go.
Brilliant. Love it. Love how it's all connected.
Right.
Mary, we want to thank you so much because I don't think this gets talked about enough. And I think it's a very real thing. And people, as they age, they need help. They need technology. The people caring for them need the same. So thanks for what you guys are doing, for the effort you're putting in. You clearly are passionate about it. It's not just a job to you. You can tell that. And you're really focused on
the whole team is that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's so cool because that's where things really get great. But hey, listen, where can we reach out if anyone listening to the show wants to get in contact with you? Like where can they do that?
Yeah. My email is mvanorman@dawnhouseliving.com.
Excellent.
So
Mary Van Orman.
and you can go through the website and send us a message as well.
And that is Dawn House
reading
Living.
Everyone.
DawnHouseLiving.com.
DawnHouseLiving.com.
Awesome. Well, Mary Van Orman is with the Wellness Division of Ergo Motion. Thank you so much for coming on the Dos Marcos show. And thank you all for listening. Get tapped into these trends, understand where the world is heading. And we're going to be able to serve populations of people who have these needs. And again, we're always trying to solve problems as it relates to sleep. And we're always trying to help you solve those problems with all the content we put together for the Dos Marcos show and up on fam.news. Make sure you are subscribed. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get the goods. Quinn, did I miss anything besides that beautiful polka dot shirt?
Give us a review. We love reviews. Build the reviews. Reviews are important. So go on there and give a review. Not for Mark and I. Give Mary 5 stars today. How about that?
No, thank you, gentlemen. It's always a delight and really appreciate it.
Thanks, Mary.
You could bounce on it. Yeah, bounce with it, bounce with it. Bounce with it, bounce with it. All right. What is a hybrid? It's like peanut butter jelly, peanut butter chocolate. Hybrid so tight, there's no way that you could topple it. Hybrid on my wrist, that's a calculator watch. We add ourselves together and we take it up a notch.
Got the airflow, yo, keep you cool as it get. Visco foam alone to make you drip sweat. Get a hybrid mattress, yes, you'll get better rest. Cool and comfortable,
Hybrid like a sweater vest.
you know the game, we're ahead of the sun. Cause the two of us together are way better than one. Cause I'm cool as ice, and I'm hot like a heater.
Bounce by the ounce,
Now we got it by the liter.
Well, you take a spring and you wrap it up right. You can sleep so smooth or bounce all night. Put two together, get a whole lot more. Get the feel of the comfort core.
You could bounce on it.
Lay back, you don't have to practice. It's the best thing to happen to your mattress. Get together to do it like I did. Everybody get hybrid.
If you want somebody to get in your vicinity, you probably want to feel a little bit of a hybridity. Foam alone, out of 5, maybe 1 star. Springs and foam, we're taking care of that lumbar. Mad back support, the best way to shack up or just get rest that won't mess your back up. Like a hot chick mixed with a particle physicist or a mullet. Party in the back of the business. Best of both worlds like Mars and Venus. The ultimate hybrid, nothing short of genius.
Keeping it loose while keeping it tight. We can make you sleep or play all night. Put two together, get a whole lot more. Get the feel of the comfort core.
You could bounce on it.
No stopping when the beat gets played back. Springs keep it popping, foam keeps it laid back. Party over here, get invited. Everybody get hybrid.
Listen, doesn't matter if your kitchen is charming when your bedroom's the most important part of the apartment. What kind of bed do you keep back there? Does your girl wanna chill on a beanbag chair? Hell no! You need springs and foam, cause if that bowling ball don't bounce, you'll be sleeping alone. And if the bed don't react, then you can't get low. We got the type of bounce that won't spill your Merlot.
So stick with us and you'll get rewarded.
Cause I'm so gentle and I'm so supportive.
Hybrid is where the magic is.
And we just killed a song about mattresses.